Here we are, bottom of the Smash Mountain, and we have a new recurring guest. That's right, joining the likes of Hoborg and Wasabi and many others. We have FirePuff12. That's right, the man, the legend himself, FirePuff12. Thank you so much for joining me again here on bottom of the Smash Mountain.
Thanks for having me, dude. Always good to talk to you.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. We have some recapping, we have some previewing, and we have some reacting. So, just based
Oh,
off of those three words, what is the most appealing to you to do first?
previewing, reacting.
And recapping, yes.
That's hard to decide. Dude. I feel like, okay, when I used to have Fox, Falco, and Puff in front of me, that's like, at some point I couldn't decide. That's how I feel right now.
Well, what sounds more
Um,
appealing to you? I mean, a coin flip
well,
doesn't quite work.
Puff was the third one, and reacting is the third one you said, so let's go with that.
We have a new Smash ripoff on the block. That's right. All-Star Brawl is just around the corner. Just got announced today, I believe. A new Nickelodeon IP Smash-style game where they're your favorite Nickelodeon characters, such as Patrick and Nigel and well, actually, I don't really know how deep the Nickelodeon lore goes, but the point is that there's going to be a new game that's Smash related, a platform fighter. You get it. And one of the things that we've heard about it so far is that it will have wave dashing, according to a developer. It will also have rollback netcode, according to a developer, and be on multiple platforms, including PC, again, according to a developer. Wild, wild things. Already a better game than Ultimate. I don't know. What do you think, Fire?
I have two comments to make right off the bat. Here you have Nickelodeon, just like Nintendo, another big corporation that's done whack things. But hey, they're making a fun game, so might as well get it. Am I right? I'm just kidding. Because I'm a big Korra fan, you know this, and like those creators got really screwed over, right? It's very similar to how Nintendo screwed over like us. But it's still the game and the developers, like these developers from Slap City, right? So they're really honestly great choice by Nickelodeon. They really surprised me. I think this is their way of proving that they're better than Nintendo. Because even if they made scummy
I mean,
choices in the
that's not hard to
past,
do.
true, but still, you would after some of the things Nick has done, I'm just like, nice, you really got the Slap City devs. Like I'm surprised. Because if you've heard, I'm sure if you've heard, because you had an episode on Rivals of Ether, right? So you know a little bit about the outside, like the platform remixes of Melee, and Slap City is one of the like most beloved ones. Like I knew Psycho Midget, he was the best puff in SoCal for a while, and he loves that game. Like there's a lot of Melee players that just love Slap City, and those developers are making this, right? So there's a lot of promise. And on top of that, you're talking about how there's wave dashing confirmed, and there's I heard there is rumors about shield dropping, I think, and there's yeah, netcode.
Ooh,
So it's gonna be sick,
ledge
I think.
canceling.
Yeah, ledge canceling. And personally, I'm so hyped for like if Avatar Core is in the game, dude, I'm getting it for sure. Like I need to figure out a way to get it if I get it for Switch, I need to figure out a way not to like pay Nintendo directly because we're on that free melee. But
Oh
man,
no,
I'm
don't
so
get it
hyped
for
to
the
play.
Switch. Like, just
Hmm.
don't get it for the Switch because, first of all, yes, it's hard to do it without directly supporting Nintendo. But secondly, do you really think it's going to have rollback netcode on the Switch? I don't think so.
You're
I don't
right.
think so.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, like when you talked about having it on the PC, like when you did your little advertising segment just now, I it didn't quite hit me. I was like, wait, it's just on the three consoles, right? But yeah, it's on the PC. I guess that's kind of like Slippy. So
It's
I
going to
have a
be
laptop though.
well, yeah, so do I. I'm curious to see how that's going to work once I have
Ooh.
internet in the coming weeks. But we're talking about yes, how Nickelodeon has done things in the past that have definitely been developer developer negative, like and
Yeah.
screwing over creatives for sure.
Yes.
But the one good thing that they did before this that I will also note for the record
Mm.
is that they created the Avatar Studios and brought on Bryke. I always forget their
Ooh.
real names to
Yeah,
to
shouts to
helm
Avatar Studios. Yeah.
right to helm that because Netflix screwed over Bryke most recently by saying
Mm.
you will no longer have creative control of this live action Atla project.
That
And
was
we're all
messed up.
going, this is ridiculous. You're going to take the people who came up with this, who gave you the best version of, okay, sorry, this is my opinion, the best version of the Avatar universe that we've seen. Yes, there is Korra. Yes, there are the comics. Those are all fine and well, but that's still my personal favorite. The 3 books from the original run of Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's still my personal favorite out of the ones that I've seen and read. So
Mm.
you're going to take those people and remove them?
Yeah.
Disrespectful to the highest degree. Like, I almost canceled my Netflix subscription. I was this close, but I'm an American
Yeah.
consumer, so I didn't. But I was still close,
Yeah.
Fire.
That's the problem. American consumer, like honestly, I mean, if you play Nintendo, you can be a consumer from anywhere. Like it's just rough. Like they kind of have us like they have the movies all in one. They have all the games, you know. It's just like, uh, like I would argue with my friends like as a kid, like no, like Nintendo games are the best, you know. Like I like playing Mario, I like playing Pokemon, but that's the company that's screwing us over. It's just like, man.
Yeah, that's why I don't buy Nintendo stuff at all anymore. But
Yeah.
I'm still a big fan of one of the games that they made in the past. Still a big supporter. Still draw a lot of
Yeah.
hype and interest. A lot of listeners on this podcast. No, not really, but we're all still Nintendo fanatics, even if we hate them so much. It's like the way that I think of it is that I like. There's a lot of parts of Nintendo that I like, but then
Yeah,
there's just a few of them that I really 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 dislike, and I can
right.
be fine with that because it's sort of like it's sort of like other things in life where maybe there's a
Yeah,
part of your job that you really, really hate, but then the rest of it is pretty cool. It's pretty hype. But
right.
again, there's just things that you're like, I'm going to get rid of you so bad.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so I mean, about your audience, I think it's pretty cool what you're doing. Like you started off, as a newcomer to the scene, even though you'd been watching, you hadn't really made an impact yet, right? But whoever listens to your podcast loves it. Like you hear it all the time. Like you hear it shout out in wannabes, Melee Stats podcast, like or server. Like we'll be discussing it everywhere. So you have an impact, and that audience is gonna grow.
I appreciate that, Fire. And I also love how after all of the robots came in and tried to build up your subscriber count after that episode ended, that you are actually building up some more subscribers on
Oh
YouTube
my God.
because you're seeing some results, some tangible results and growth coming out of all the effort you're putting into your content. I think that's super sick.
Thanks, dude. You were there for me for that. I was melting down. That was rough. I was like, stop inflating my subscriber count. You're making me look bad. Like at first it's like, oh dang, you have 20K, but then you look at my views, it's like, what the heck? This guy has the views of a 1K subs. It's like, yeah, I have 1K. Where'd you get these 20, all these bots from? Just liking my none likes my joke video out of nowhere. Oh man. I'm glad that was over because now I have an accurate representation of my um, you know, spectators, viewers. But yeah, I appreciate that very much. I actually checked today. I've been on a daily upload streak since May 20. I'm gonna take a break soon.
Ooh. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
And that takes a lot of work. That doesn't happen by accident. I know that some people might look
yeah.
at your channel and be like, oh, okay, that's just kind of edits of other people's stuff or this, that, or the third. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That still takes a lot of effort to put together. I even thinking about editing something of my own makes me like sick to my stomach. I'm like, I do not want to do that. I just want to talk for an hour and then just slap it on YouTube. Like that's what I want to do.
And here
Editing.
you are being humble about what you do. What you do is no easy task either, especially with the resources you have. Listeners of your podcast know you have very limited resources, and I think a lot of people would give up, but you make it happen with just a phone and like a couple contacts, right? You have like an editor for YouTube, so pretty amazing stuff on your end.
Yeah, shout outs to Legs for handling the video stuff for YouTube. I really appreciate that.
Big
And
shouts to
having a
Legs.
work laptop is nice. They like
Love the
sort
puff.
of know what I use it for, sort of.
Hmm.
The less questions the better. But at
Yeah,
some point I'm probably going to have to get my own laptop or
it's kind of
like an
like what we
actual
do.
computer.
It's kind of like what we do with Slippy, you know? We just, yeah, we're just playing Melee. That's what we're doing. Yeah.
Making it work.
Yeah,
With
we don't need to know about the details. We have the disc, you can see it. We all ripped the ISO, obviously.
Of course, of course. I
Yeah.
have, I've obviously have done that. Well, what I really need to do is figure out a way to do that. If I want to play Slippy, I need to get the ISO correctly. Okay, so
Right.
About the All-Star Brawl though,
Yes, back to
my
topic.
my idea for this, and I know we're a visual medium, so we're gonna have to try to keep this to a smaller list. But I
Hmm.
need you to think about what characters from Korra, from Atla, from both like the Avatar universe in general that you really want to
Hmm.
see in All Star Brawl, because there was a stage that looked like the Western Air Temple, and I was like, okay, yep,
Oh,
yep, they gotta put in. That would be the worst
oh
decision ever
yeah,
made by a for-profit company to not put someone like Zuko, like Avatar Korra, like
yeah,
Iroh, like
yeah,
you get it, on and on. So we got to go through the gauntlet here of Avatar characters that we would love to
yeah,
see. First of all, we can just spit a bunch out and like, go over some ideas, some pitches, and then go from there. We'll probably have to narrow it down to maybe like 3 characters each, but let's just talk about how awesome it is that this is a possibility, because how
yeah.
cool would it have been for someone like Aang or Korra to be in Ultimate, but then it'd be lame because Ultimate is not really that much fun to play when you like Melee. So like Aang would be cool or Korra would be cool. Great. That's
Yeah,
awesome. But then that would be only one character and it's awful buffer system and online play is just the worst. Ultimate is not a great and fun game. It doesn't really feel that. Okay, so now that it's going to be
yeah.
in a better setting, so good for Avatar. Give me some characters you want to see.
Um, Actually, when you said Iroh, I was literally thinking of like, like there's assist trophies and stuff. I was thinking like, what if you could just like summon Iroh, like if he wasn't a character, like if let's say he's like Zuko's assist or something, he could just be like, uh, Prince Zuko, must relax and focus or something, and then he gets healed. I don't know, but but uh, but yeah,
Something that I would love to see is like something like, that's true, but you are clearly outmatched, and then like blow up the stage.
oh yeah, yeah, or like, do you remember why they call me the Dragon of the West? Oh shoot.
It's more of a demonstration, really.
Oh, and then he gets the thing out of his mouth. Oh man. Okay.
See,
Dude,
would that not be so cool? How could
that would
you
be so
not be
sick.
gifted the keys to the kingdom of something like this? We've only gone over literally one character, and I'm just like, I need to think about this for the next 24 hours because of how
Yeah,
cool this is, conceptually
I
speaking.
think we touched the surface. That's the thing. The thing is, I think we all, I'm not trying to be pessimist here, but we all need to be prepared for disappointment because a lot of cool stuff's gonna be there, but everything you imagine, like a lot of that's not gonna be there. Like some of it, you know? Because there's just too
Okay,
much we can imagine.
that's
But
true. That's true.
it's still gonna be sick, don't get me
But
wrong. But it's just like I don't know if the fungi horn and the dragon of the west and like everything's gonna be there for Iroh, you know?
probably not. It
So,
still has to be a
yeah.
platform fighting game. It has to make sense.
Right.
Like, sure,
Yeah.
there's footage of Iroh using his belly as a weapon. I'm
Mhm.
thinking of when Azula tries to run away, but then Zuko and Iroh there, and now it's everybody cornering Azula, and she goes, "Look at this, enemies and traitors all
Amazing.
working." Like
That was amazing.
it's not gonna happen exactly like that. Where an attack of Iroh's in this is like the jab is
Yeah.
the belly attack. But in the same vein of disappointment, we also haven't been disappointed yet, Fire. So the possibilities are
Mm,
endless right now. As many
that's
disappointments as there
true.
can be, there can also be triumphs. And I'm just focusing on the positive right now, dude.
Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking of it in terms of when you said keys to the kingdom, I was just thinking about dang, like I don't know, like how many things can you imagine, right? But then they have to develop it and they just straight up might not remember like everything, right? Because everyone just expects them to remember everything and that's just not possible. But I mean, they seem to have, yeah,
How
a
could
good
you
team
not?
and what's up?
Sorry, go ahead.
What happened?
No, I was just like, I'm getting super hype, and I need you to talk me down a little bit. So keep going.
I love it, dude. I I think there's some stuff going on at home, but like if it wasn't, I would be like screaming too. But right now I'm just like trying to control my voice, but I'm very hyped, don't get me wrong. I had to do
We
the
should
same
have
thing
led
when
with that.
yeah, when Uvas was taking 20 stocks off of one crew and parked in bracket, I had to do the same thing. I had to tame my voice because we had guests over. And I was just like, how are you taking 20 stocks? I was like controlling my voice and everything. But yeah, back to the game. Um, what were we talking about again? Like different characters, right? So yeah, Zuko would be really sick. I think you have to have Zuko. I think
Yes, and the blue spirit has to be a separate character. Like if you want to try to do that
oh
like that duo thing like they did
yeah,
for Zelda and Sheik and
Zelda
Melee,
and Sheik. Yeah, I didn't even think about them. Yeah.
I personally disagree with that. I want them to be separate characters. Like I don't want that
Okay.
switching stuff because it's like you go from having a sortie to a zoner because anybody who has a lot of bending like Zuko is going to be more of a zoner because you have fireballs and fire whips
Mm.
and fire blasts. So obviously there's going to be a certain amount of zoning that you're going to do as a projectile heavy character, quote unquote. And I think that's probably going to be the reason why they don't have a ton of avatar representation in general, because any of the bending elements involves more or less projectiles in like a platform fighting sense.
Actually, I don't think that's necessarily the case. So if you think about Aang versus Zuko, right? Um, Zuko, like Aang would get up close and he would scrap. Like that's how he got Zuko, because Zuko was good at the mid range, but Aang would get really up close and then like he did mango kind of things, honestly, like mango puff, even with the air. Like he would just get right behind him, cross him up, make him spin.
Right.
And so yeah, so when you got that kind of stuff, so I think airbenders will definitely have that capability. I think Korra, right? Actually, it was just a general style shift in the Korra time period where people were just more streamlined. Honestly, kind of like what we see with Melee, right? Like things are more streamlined. You see more in common, even if a player's from the West Coast or the East Coast. So in Korra, like you saw different benders bending in a similar way because there were things like the sporting, like the competitions, right? Like where it was good to like bend straightforward in a similar like shape and like similar and like decent speed, right? So
And there were
I think we're
rules.
gonna exactly, yeah, like the pro bending arena rules. So not that everyone followed that at all times, outside of the arena, but we saw a lot more like streamlined of a style. So when Korra fights, right? I think we saw some of that and her own take, of course, but she can earth bend, she can fire bend, all in the mid range to close range. She was a very good firebending attacker. Like I think as aggressive as Zuko is, he is more of a zoner, like you said, I think. So I think we can definitely see some variety. I think what would be sick is I just became Armada, didn't I? I just said I think like 40 times. God dang it. Anyway, I don't know if you were around in 2017 Cypher, but Alex 19's emote cracked everyone up. He has an emote called like Alex 19 I think. And literally I wake up one day, it's Big House 6, and there's an interview and Armada's just like I think, and then you see like a million, like 40,000 viewers and like a million I thinks. I'm like, "Oh my God." Okay, let me try to be conscious of that, I think, but um, even
I'm
with
just looking this up now, so keep talking.
I th I just said it again, but anyway,
Oh,
we
that's
can see,
hilarious. I'm looking at it right now. That's awesome.
yeah, we can see Zuko and Korra, two different firebenders, or I'm not sure if they'll get Mako in. I think if they get Korra characters, Asami would be a good one, maybe Bolin before Mako, but Mako a good one too. But we can see variations in the same element, is what I'm saying, right? And
Zahir like definitely needs to be in from Korra. Like that's probably my
yes,
favorite villain, and that's probably true
yes.
for a lot of people who like Korra. But Zahir was so cool.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge, yeah, I love season three, and I think Zahir is amazing. So I agree with that completely. And I think, because, okay, so Aang is a scrapper with Airbender, or he can, right? He can be. It's so interesting because Zahir's aggressive and he can get up close too. It's going to be so interesting to see if the devs implement like those kind of nuances, right? Where Aang has like smaller hitboxes per se, but he's faster. And then Zahir, so it's kind of like a Link, Young Link ordeal, but like there's even more of a difference because Zahir's like aggro and Aang is more trying to like whiff punish. He's trying to get you to whiff and then he'll just get behind you, right? So
It's there's all kinds. It's literally like the possibilities right now to us are endless. So for
yeah,
lesser known characters, I want to give some light to like characters like the Boulder, for instance. It was
Ty
my
Lee.
idea. I was like,
I-
it would be so cool to see the Boulder in a fighting game, and then have taunts that are basically just quotes from the show. Like that
Cypher,
just
Cypher, the Boulder agrees.
Thank you so much. That makes me so happy. I know that was
Shoutouts
not easy
to
to do in your environment
Shoutouts
where
to Mark Revival. We had a back and forth on Twitter. We're all just like the Boulder this, the Boulder that.
let me think of I need to think of like just one line to do from the show.
Hmm.
The boulder is no longer conflicted by his feelings.
Oh my God. Yes. His initial reaction, right, is like the boulder feels conflicted about fighting a blind girl or something, and then he says that like after
With the
after
like
ta
the anime I'm
yeah.
mad thing on his forehead, yeah. And how cool would Toph be? Sorry, I said
Yeah,
Toph. Toph.
tough.
Holy cow.
That's how you know
By
you're
the
a melee
way,
player.
Toph came first. Okay, so
Yeah, tough game.
Toph would be such a cool character. Such a cool character. Like I would
Yeah,
love there to be like I think earthbending would probably be my favorite to use in like a platform fighting game. I have to be honest because
yeah.
even though the temptation is to use a lot of aerials and that kind of thing, I think they could figure out a way to have the earthbender be fast enough to sort of thwart aerial approaches and also figure out how
Yeah.
to make like the grab game. I think would be something that they could just make super broken and then make the recovery really weak, where like you can grab from long range, just like grab
No,
them by
and
their feet when they land on
they
the
could have
platform.
disjointed hitboxes with like rocks and stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then like of the specialty elements, would you save those for like a rage mechanic or perhaps a final smash where like the waterbender blood bends, the firebender uses
Hmm.
lightning, and so
Yeah,
on?
I think it depends. I think lightning honestly would be cool as like one of the B moves. Bloodbending is very extreme, so I think that would have to be saved. But like I guess like for Bolin, right? There's because in
Lava bending.
exactly there's metal bending and lava bending, but lava bending is I don't know if it's not quite blood bending, right? But then like Zahir, bending air out of your lungs, I think that has to be like that's some Mortal Kombat stuff. I don't know if they can literally
Yeah,
show
no,
that.
that's not going to be for a Nickelodeon platform kids fighting
Actually,
game.
Cypher, I have a really funny story to tell you. So just recently, someone was like, "Yo, Fire, like I want to join like Fire Nation, right?" But then they were like, "Wait, I have a question." And they're like, "Toph or man, what's it? Boomy? Yeah, Toph or Boomy? Like who's stronger?" And I said Toph, and they're like, "Okay, we're cool. Like I'm gonna join." I was like, "What the?"
This is like a homie test.
Yeah, that was funny. But
But
yeah.
to be fair, Boomy is a very, very strong earthbender.
Oh yeah.
It's not like it's a closed argument sort of a thing, but Toph has to be the best. I mean,
I
that's
think
just
she's just the prodigy of her element. Like Boomy was he was insane himself, and in his prime he was probably kicking, a lot more butt. But Toph's just a prodigy, so
absolutely coming up with metal bending. Oh, metal bending. Yes. Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
I think you have to mention Kuvira actually when it comes to metal bending, right? Because
Oh yeah,
yeah,
fantastic. Yes.
shout outs to Let's React. I just finished watching them react to Korra, but the Kuvira matches are like fresh in my mind. She just completely changed up metal bending. Like they even showed Toph versus some of Kuvira's troops for a little bit. Just a completely different style. So again, like when it comes to character nuances, even within between the same elements, right? It's gonna be very interesting to see.
I just really hope that it all, kind of lands more on the positive side in terms of reception as compared to on the negative lame side because they've tried to make Avatar games before and they have
Hmm.
fallen flat, flat, flat. So, with good developers behind this, or for Slap City anyway, I'm hoping that
Yeah, that's a very
yeah,
good sign.
that's encouraging to hear. That's encouraging to hear. So then that leaves the reaction stuff to the wayside now. We actually spent a decent amount of time talking about that, so I can call that a real segment. We should now transition to recapping because it's not going to make sense to preview and then recap. So let's start with the big one. Rollback Rumble, the big one, was literally a historic event. So let's just start off by saying big kudos to Homemade Waffles, to Jade, Nathan Sandwich, Shiggles, Young Walk, and dozens of other people. I named the people who are officially part of the Rollback Rumble team, but there were a
Yeah,
lot of contributors and content creators, stream runners, people who were like leading pools and all kinds of stuff. This was an amazing tournament that lasted 8 days, and capped off with an amazing top 8 for the singles bracket, and lots of prize pot, and it was a lot of people just really excited to sort of celebrate a little bit of an end to an era. There's a lot of IRL events coming back, but this is going to be one of the last big, probably in many ways the last big IRL major, at least for a while, until we figure out what we want to do with online events, with mixing IRL events in. It was just an incredible event. So big kudos and applause all around to all the people who helped make it possible. Woo! Wish I could have helped. Not really able to help. So maybe there won't be a next time, will there? But hopefully I'll be able to help with something. So for your part, Fire, overall impressions of this event.
Well, I just wanted to how do you say it? I guess let's just say I'm quote retweeting what you just said in the beginning, like in this conversation, because big shout outs to Waf, Jade, Nathan, the entire team. There's the official team, there's all the volunteers, like you said. Can't be said enough. Can't be said enough. They like I was chatting with Nathan at some point, like just after hours, I was just chilling, talking about other stuff, and at the time he's literally like on a dock. He's on a dock, and like Jade and like a couple others were there. Like that's the kind of work they were doing at like what 1 a.m. They're just constantly working on this stuff, and they're like the reason we had this amazing event. They've been behind so many things before Rollback Rumble as well. But yeah, this 8-day event, monumental occasion, and the end of an era. So I I can't really put it any better than you did. I'm just kind of going through like the different points because it is amazing what we just saw transpire. And yeah, like there's so many cool events. There's Smash Sisters. I got to commentate. I'm really honored because I'm a big fan of Smash Sisters. I was really impressed by the players I saw in 5 Days of Melee, and it was really cool to be able to talk about their play. And then there was also the Wolf bracket. There was volleyball, um, doubles. I'm missing some events for sure, but there were so many things going on, and it was just
Oh, crew battles.
crew battle. Yes, of course, crew battle. Yeah, you have to talk about that. A lot of upsets. My state, California, in shambles, but we saw some cool things. CPU Zero caught my attention.
And Druffin is finally part of a winning region for the first time in his Melee career, which, by the way, is not 5 years. It is much longer than that.
Yeah. But I don't even know where to begin, Cypher. I guess we're trying to do like a recap so we can like focus on singles, I guess.
Yeah, so the one other thing that's coming to mind that I think of when it comes to this event is or I better not think about this a lot because the more I think about it, the more things come back into my memory. But the content stuff that the Wannabes podcast did is also something that bears mentioning because I love shouting out the Wannabes any chance I get. All
Yeah.
the content stuff that they did was awesome. I love the talk show kind of stuff that they were doing, all the interviews, all the behind the scenes type interviews. Just this is something that is near and dear to both of our hearts where we want to show a lot of respect and love to what TOs have to deal with. There are things that happen where it's outside of their control and it's really negative and people just want to dogpile on. And sometimes things happen that are sort of like, oh, well, I'm paying attention to a million other things and this slipped through and that's on me. But like wanting to be supportive, even though it is hard to I don't know if being rewarded is the right way to put it, or just like it's easy to support someone like Mango or easy to support top player, Hungrybox top player, whoever, because everybody wants to support the players. That's great. Yeah. But supporting the TOs, it's not like the clout chasey kind of thing to do. I don't know if that makes sense. But
no, I agree. I have a lot of respect.
The point is that like showing respect and love to the TOs that make all this possible, it is such an integral, important part of the scene. So seeing the Wannabes also make sure to give love in that direction. I loved that. So to JD and Wasabi, thank you for that. But also I wanted to talk about the salty sweets between I don't
Mog
know
and
what
Magi.
yeah. I saw Messenger was the tag on Twitter, or so I thought, but then I kept seeing Mog. So it's Mog. Okay, Mog versus Magi, with Magi pulling it out, pulling it
Let's
out
go.
2 sets versus the one for Mog. That was that was very cool just to hear the back and forth and see it on Twitter as well. Like I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
this is salty sweet stuff right here. This is awesome.
Yeah, shout outs to Salty Sweet. Shout outs to the commentary during Salty Sweet. You love to see commentary that like when they feel the vibes, right? And they reflect it to the audience. Um, what I want to, I also, sorry, real quick, I want to go back to JD and Wasabi. 'Cause, Wasabi had a hot run. And
Oh yeah, that too.
yeah. So yeah, I just want to shout that out. Shout outs to Wasabi. I played him recently, he kind of whooped me, and it was really fun. I was like, wow, this guy's amazing. And as a content creator, he makes really cool videos, and of course, he's part of Wannabes. Shouts to JD as well. And anyway, yeah, we can go back to the salty sweet. I wanted to do my personal shout out to Wasabi too.
No, I'm sorry that
Yeah,
I skipped over so many
you're
things.
fine. You're fine. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, your thoughts on the salty sweet? I didn't get to catch too much of it, but like whenever I came in, I was like, dang, there's so much going on. Everyone's so like you see Twitch chat, like everyone's losing it, everyone's taking sides. That's what you love to see.
I loved it so much, and
Yeah.
obviously, I felt like a lot of the Peach Nation had to sort of back up Mog, but then they're like,
Mm,
oh, but I really want to root for Magi too, and
yeah.
it's just like it's fun to see because I knew that they were both beefing for sure. Magi and
Yeah.
Mog, but then just to be like, okay, let's settle it in melee and let's do it for content. I was like, this is perfect. This is awesome
Okay,
because you
who
don't
had
want to have. Sorry,
mm,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say who had more legit beef, Plop and Ginger or Mog and Magi?
But okay, but
You,
aside
you,
from
uh, you
that,
don't have to answer.
okay, but aside from that, it was like there was the one negative thing that I can think of coming out of this was like how Army had supposedly bad internet connection or whatever, and there were people
Hmm.
who played against Army and lost and could have pointed to the less than stellar internet connection as being the reason why that occurred. And it wasn't until it was Army versus, I think it was supposed to be Two Saint, who we'll talk about here shortly, saying, nope, I'm not playing
Mm,
that connection because it's not a good enough connection to play.
hmm.
And so that's just one of those things where it's like, no one's going to come out of this feeling great, where the TO has to double DQ Army out of the bracket, and the players who previously played Army are like, well, okay, well, what about me? And Army
Yeah.
is also being like, okay, well, my internet is normally great, and I was good enough to get to where I was in the bracket, and so that's obviously not super great. You don't want to have a
Mm,
salty sweet come out of that because nobody wants to actually. That's real stuff. Like it crosses that line into, yeah, we're not playing around anymore. But then to
yeah.
have something where Ma goes on Twitter and is like, yeah, I beat the brakes off of Magi, and Magi's like, nobody beats Magi however many times in a row or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so there are feelings here, but it's
Yeah.
still fun enough, or just like, okay, let's lean into this a little bit for the content. We're still in like
Mhm.
content mode as well. And the matches were fun from what I saw also.
I mean, they both just have fantastic play styles. Like it,
Yeah.
it it just it clashes really well, right? Like that's what I felt immediately when I saw it.
Yeah, Falco versus Peach is really fun to watch. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I like watching a lot of Peach matchups. Peach versus Marth, Peach versus Fox, Peach versus Falco.
I'm a big Peach fan too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool just like anytime anytime I'm watching Melee, I
Yeah.
find something to enjoy about it. But yeah, Salty Sweet is
Yeah.
something that is near and dear to my heart because I still love the Salty Sweet between Leffen and Chillin, and also the Salty Sweet
Yeah.
between Ken and PC Chris. And then I'll do one other
Yeah.
shout out. I believe it was Matt Dobzev versus
Yes.
Kage.
Kage. Yep.
Yep,
Apex
where
2014.
Matt
Yeah.
Dazev takes off the jacket and
Yeah.
it's a Kage shirt with the crossed out symbol. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
let's go.
That was incredible. I want to shout out Ryobait real quick actually, because we were just gushing about Peach, right? I woke up the only Super Major I've ever been to, Genesis 7, and I woke up and I open my phone, right? I'm just like, okay, what's going on? What's going on with the matches? And I see Ryobeat making that stellar upset on Wizrobe, and it was so hype. Like his playstyle is really sick, and yeah,
And by the way, Ryobeat does say hi. That's a preview for you listeners. Ryobeat's episode with me will be out in the coming days.
yeah,
Very cool. That's just
yeah.
subtle. It was subtle. But no,
But
for real. I
also,
I mentioned you to Ryobeat, and yeah, Ryobeat says hi.
that's so sick. Yeah, he's sick. I said co-commentate. I got to commentate with him at Smash Sisters, and that was really fun. Um, Also, yeah, like going back to the salty sweets you mentioned, there's so many good ones. Like, what? Man, I'm blanking. When you were talking about them, I had so many in mind, but yeah, like, oh yeah, Mango Leffen, that's one I just remembered. The Fox
Oh
Ditto.
yeah, yeah,
Mango did
yeah.
the reverse 3-0. Oh my God. That one's so funny. And Apex 2015, like, besides, so Leffen Chillin was the best, and Ken PC was really good. The other ones, they weren't necessarily like as good, but they're still really hype. You have to mention Bizarro, Flame, and Eichelman, I think. That's just like, I have a video planned using like Biz's clip of being like a fraud, you know? It's so good.
Well, there's also the Smash Magazine Twitter clip where it's like a remix where like
Oh,
there's like a disc, there's like a record over a track and just like
yeah.
playing a beat, and they like made Scar and Bizarro Flame do like a rap over it or something, right?
Yeah, no, big shout outs to Smasher Magazine, and actually big shout outs to all the like rising Melee streamers. There's a lot of them. There's like a whole crew. That's actually what I loved about Parked in Traffic's event because he brought like all of them together when they did the streamer cruise, right? Like, I don't know, like I don't know what order to go in, but there's Velparia, Parked in Traffic, Smasher Magazine, Poggy B, Catbug 96, not what's his name? Newt, not Newt, Super Noki.
Wait. The Falco player from Idaho or whatever, Newt.
No, not Newt, my bad.
Ah, but
There's
I
there's
love
another
Newt. So shout outs to
big shout
Newt.
outs. Yeah, yeah, no, big shout outs to Newt. He was actually on or was he on or he was rooting for Team Vel? But yeah, definitely big shout outs to him. He's a really sick Falco player. But there's another Falco, Super Noki. I meant to shout out him, the streamer. There's a whole crew of them, rising streamers. I think you guys should, if you're listening, should check them out. Like as fun as Mango, Zane, like they're all fun to watch. These are like rising players. You can see them grow, like their stream, their personality is like really fun, and they're getting better at the game. And they'll like discuss with you, play games with you, like a lot more interactive, I think. So it's just really fun communities to be part of. So shout outs to all of them, and just Melee as a streaming game.
Yes, because even though there are some parts of Melee that are like harder to be like streamer friendly, or for audiences or for the streamer themselves, sometimes I feel like that most of the time it can still be very entertaining and you can still involve your audience to a really high degree, even if it's just bringing them in for matches where it's like, okay, you drop a sub, you get a match, that kind of thing. Like it could still be a good game for streams. You don't have to necessarily be a Mango to have an audience who enjoys what you're doing, who enjoys
Yeah,
watching the tournament runs and supporting you. I know
yeah,
that you
exactly.
you love to support Valparia's tournament runs, so shout outs to Val.
Yeah, shout outs to Vel. She's playing right now. I think she's gonna do really well, pun intended. So let's see how that goes. But yeah, but I mean, it's just really cool. Vel in particular, like her energy for Puff. Like I've seen a lot of Puff players, a lot of homies, but her energy for Puff reminds me of like when I started. So that's like big part of like why I'm so enthusiastic. I know that's something you can relate to, like when you see people like having the same energy for Melee that you do in like, various ways when it comes to like podcasting or content or gameplay. So
Yeah, shout outs to Speedy Sloth, who's starting a debate show centered around Melee. Had Camor on as the first guest. So if you look up, just look up Speedy Sloth Melee. I'm sure it'll come up right away. Or just look up, look up Speedy Sloth
yeah,
Melee Camor, and you'll find it right away. I promise.
I
Great.
was
looking forward to watching the whole episode, but it's in my watch later list,
Yeah.
Speedy Sloth. If you're listening, it's on my watch later list, I promise.
Yeah, no, shout out to Speedy. I was posting my upload yesterday to like, different channels, and Speedy was there too posting his stuff, and I was like, let's go. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, I'd love to see a debate show where people are like, let's just throw out hot opinions and get mad at each other for it, and then we're all good after half an hour or an hour. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's not my thing, but I'm glad it's your thing. Maybe I'll just go on to play a character, like I'm just be really mean and be like,
Yeah.
nope, nope, nope. Sheik is absolutely the worst top tier or the worst high tier character in the game, and then all the Sheik people being like, yo, Cypher, why are you being like that? I'm like, just sit it for the one episode. I don't actually hate Sheik. I think Sheik is a super sick character. Have you seen J Mook? And they're like, yeah, we've seen J Mook. We're Sheik fans, and so on.
Uh, Man, it's so funny. Okay, I'm tumbling over like two different thoughts. One, I think it's funny that you said Jmook because I think it just shows like I guess I was like watching a lot earlier because I think of Plop right away. Jmook is really sick, don't get me wrong, but it's just cool to see like what a certain person references, right? When they think of like something cool character, cool content, things like that. But the other thing I want to say, I'm trying to remember, I forgot.
No worries. We can start to now talk about the singles
Yeah.
bracket, and if you think of it, just let me know.
Wait, what did you mention right before Jmook? Might ring a bell.
I was like, I love watching Sheik. Actually, I think Sheik is a really cool character and a
Oh,
really great
debates,
character.
debates. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say like, people be like, oh yeah, like FirePuff12, he's like a chill guy. See me, tell me that like something about Mango Puff, something that's gonna get me riled up, and then see me, and then call me calm. That's yeah.
No, I. Well, anyway, okay. So for myself, we've gotten to know each other here in the past couple of months since we first introduced ourselves to each other, and yeah, like you do this thing where yes, very very chill and calm in some circumstances. Then other times you're really fired up, and I think that that's not a detrimental thing. I want to tell you, I've already told you this
Thanks.
in private, but it's like
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing for you to become really passionate. I think that it's just a matter of just like like being self-aware about it. But like I don't think that you being like really vindictive and like upset about something is like an automatic like, oh hey, emotions, can't do that. Like of course
Yeah.
you can. That's part of the human experience, or whatever you want to call it. So yep.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot because I definitely do things where like I might regret it or sometimes I don't regret it, but like, it's just it gives off like a certain vibe to people. And like some people not so supportive. They'll just be like, "Oh, like, but it doesn't mean I was objectively wrong, I guess. It's good to know that from you." So,
Right. But we do need to, okay, so
yeah,
we're
singles
talking
for
a
sure.
little bit about how there were two summit spots open, and that's because of Leffen not being able to attend. This is just the
Yeah.
cruelest twist of fate, that after like a year plus of quarantine and the pandemic, which is already bad enough, Leffen then gets sidelined by the very fact of the
Yeah.
inadequacy of our U.S. government, and probably something to do with the Swedish government. I mean, I want to
Hmm.
blame both, but I
Hmm.
am more familiar with the U.S. government than I am with Swedish government, and I can tell you that the U.S. government has a few things that they need to work on.
To put it lightly.
Yes, yes.
Oh
So
my God.
I was so disappointed, as I'm sure a lot of those who are listening for yourself, Fire, to hear that Leffen would not be able to
Yeah.
travel over for Smash Summit 11. Really, really disappointing. And
Cypher, you know what pisses me off? Oh my
okay, you
God.
go ahead.
You were just talking about like me getting like ranty or like, oh my God, I'm
Oh,
just
here we go. Okay.
literally there you can go on like okay, there's some free Leffen videos on YouTube, and there's
Like yours.
comments. Thank you. I stayed up till 5 making that. I was so passionate. Like I couldn't polish it completely because like my laptop kept freezing. But there's comments and they're attacking Leffen from three different angles now. Okay, like I'm sure you heard of bleep Nichols, like just bleep out the first part. because this guy platforms people in bad faith, people that shouldn't be in our community. And
Okay, took me a second, but yeah, I know who you're talking about.
yeah, and there's comments, coming from there being like, okay, Leffen lied about these things last year. With their like few out of like, because what that guy does is he'll take some things out of context. He'll take some things that like, you cannot refute, and he'll just be like, okay, like this person is sorry or whatever, right? And he just like damage control. He does damage control on these people like that I frankly just and a lot of people think should not be in the community. Right? He does damage control and makes it seem like, oh well, Leffen, like he's this guy, he'll bring up something from 2013, right? Leffen's this guy, like, oh, like he was a bully. And so you should take, he's trying to put these people down. He has a personal agenda or something. And as much as you want to keep atmosphere positive, like this kind of stuff has to be addressed. Like these people, like you can't delete their comments all the time. Like they're gonna keep like uh, they think this legit like a section of the community, right? Um, and like you can see the comments on my video. Like I just kept it there because I feel like I mean it's a whole. I think if it crosses the line too far, you gotta delete the comment. But like I think it's just a display of like how where the community is at. And it's pretty disturbing. They'll be like, "Oh, Leffen was lying about the situation," or things like that. And then there's also the um, video came out recently, a .zip video. There's people from there, from that camp, saying like, "Oh, Leffen lied about this, that." Um, and then there's also I don't remember the third camp, but like there's just people attacking Leffen from different angles, and it's like now is not. Oh yeah, the EMP Lemon, like, because he like signaled some things. As good as the documentary was for getting people in, I can't appreciate some things EMP Lemon has done. And man, like they're going at him in the free Leffen video. Like we need to band together as a community right now. Um, I guess if you really, really believe Leffen like just should not be there, like I don't know what to say. It's like I guess you're out of reach. But to the people who are like mixed, starting to upvote some of these like hate comments, it's like you need to think about like we need to come together and like make this happen. Like yeah, we can discuss like community like code of conduct, things like that after, like okay, like what you think Leffen can do better, even though I don't think, I think if anything he has been on our side, has been on the right side. But yeah, it's just so disappointing. I know I've been kind of repeating some things, tripping over words. I'm just kind of fuming right now, so I don't know if I made a lot of sense, but that's just what I have to say.
The best way for me to sort of try to recap what you said is that
Yeah,
there
please
are
do that.
there's more than one camp of people who exist on the internet who are happy that Leffen is not going to Summit 11 and are
Yeah.
like, good, that's great, because I have this reason, whatever it may be, for disliking Leffen or wanting him to not be a part of the community or be canceled or whatever you want to say. And the problem is that for someone like me, I don't know any of these people personally, like that are specifically mentioned, like Leffen to start with. I don't know personally. So all I can go off of is what most of us have, which is just like its internet footprints, its previous statements. And what I end up thinking to myself is, when somebody comes forward and presents information in a way that I know has an agenda behind it, you just have to tread a lot more carefully, because there's a very big line in the sand in my mind between presenting and leading. And anyone who makes a video where they are leading very, very hard, and not even subtly, just like straight up saying, this is what you should believe and what you should think for yourself, I just go, how can this be? This would never, not in a court of law kind of thing, but just like, this doesn't really make sense to me, even as like a persuasive piece or essay to get me to change my mind on this situation, because like I can tell you're doing it specifically to change my mind, not to present facts and try to lean on both sides and try to be objective. So it is very hard for me to accept information where I feel like this is coming from a biased perspective. Now, we all, because of this, the rules of society and whatnot, we all are going to have a certain amount of subjectivity in the objectivity of things. But when somebody's just like totally ignoring the line or leaning really, really hard in one direction. It just makes me say, well, why would I believe anything that you have to say? So
Mm.
with Leffen, I think that for the most part, the community overall feels like this is someone we want to have around, and that's a position that I land on as well. So I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. And it
Yeah.
is very unfortunate, again, like we were saying, that because of the visa issues, Levin wasn't able to come over. The good news is that one of the other players from Europe, Pipsqueak, was able
Mm.
to
Yeah,
make it
despite some
work.
struggles as recent as today.
As of now, is still on track, but yes, like you
Yeah.
said, Fire is still experiencing even a week plus, over
Mm.
2 weeks now. I think being in North America, not the United States, but in Mexico, just being so, there's just so many things. Have you seen the Twitlongers? You've seen the Twitlongers. It's insane what Pipsqueak has had to do
I
to get
haven't
over here.
actually, because since Free Leffen, I've been 'cause- okay. Obviously, like I release content, but like since Free Leffen happened, I've been releasing content based on like current events, like that I felt like I really need to address. So that's why I released like Leffen, and then I campaigned for Aklo, so I released Aklo. And like the thing is, when I these are like longer, like more detailed videos, so I've been staying up to like 4 or 5, like almost every day. So I'm not paying attention to Twitter as much, so you would have to recap me.
My gosh. Well, just simply boil it down to Pipsqueak has had to basically be on edge pretty much no matter where he is, even
Oh
even
man.
when he's in the safety of his own room, quote unquote, at the place he's staying
Yeah,
at. Is just like,
it's
it's like, oh my
unfortunate.
gosh, is this going to totally derail the whole reason why I flew over here and blah blah blah. So hopefully that won't affect Pipsqueak's performance too much. I hope not. But
Yeah, that sounds
we
very rough. You're already dealing with jet lag and all of that, and on top of that, you're just stuck in like where like you can't get to your destination.
Right. So hopefully Pipsqueak is there. I guess we'll find out in the next couple of days. But
Yeah.
that does leave 2 spots available up for grabs after the invites. Well, they weren't even really invites. You had to play well in Smash Summit 10, the online Smash Summit, where you were there because of your SCL Summit Champions League 2 qualifiers and pooled matches, blah blah blah. So there were players who got in based off of that. There were players that got voted in, including Air Yingling. July 5th will forever be known as Air Yingling Day. And then we have 2 spots open for the big one, the awesome tournament ran by Rollback Rumble team. So the top 2 placings of this tournament, the 2 players that made grand finals, winner side, grand finals, loser side, would be automatically invited to Summit 11, the biggest prize pool in Melee history of over $140,000
Let's go.
chunk.
Let's go.
My gosh. So the top 2 players, one was Wizrobe, who you would expect. You would expect Wizrobe to do that, but it wasn't even certain a week before or less than a week before this event happened, Fire. Some people
Yeah,
were
that he would
saying
participate, right?
Wizrobe is actually not able to participate because Wizrobe's like moving or something like that. I forget what the exact
Yeah,
thing was,
he's
but I was
moving.
like,
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
You kidding me? Wizrobe can't go. Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
agree.
Wizrobe made grand finals and won the tournament, so congratulations to Wizrobe. But who did he beat? Who came out of losers to take the last spot for Smash Summit 11? Fire, take it away.
Well, you might have seen this in a recent video, but from my
Oh yeah,
perspective,
yeah. Love to check out FirePuff12 on YouTube. Let's go.
in a recent, from my perspective, there was once nasty, nasty Jigglypuff. Shouts to Alston Melee's new content. Speaking of Alston Melee, they made sure that their premiere didn't conflict with mine. So big shouts to them. They look out for content creators. But back to the program. There's a sick combo video that they shout out in their video, known as Rollout, right? Very influential video because a man named the King played Puff in such a unique way, such a fancy way, cool, as some might say. And he inspired my inspiration, my favorite Puff. Well, you know, he has some competition now. He's had some competition. It's just when I see Mango Puff, I get excited. But there's been another Puff from the tri-state area who's been flexing some nasty some setups you've never seen, innovating matchups, going for I can't even put it into words. Just gotta watch his gameplay. Two Saint. Shout outs to Two Saint. In 2017, when it was looking like the King wasn't playing anymore, Mango, Tech, another really sick Puff from France, they'd all quit. It was looking dark. It was like, man, is Puff just like, a lot of planking with some like cool combos once in a while? But Two Saint just comes in and starts dash dance resting, drill drill resting off stage up airs into suicide rests. Like, is that Mango's Falco or something? Like, um, new setups you've never seen, the smoothest ledge cancels. Shouts to Solo Battle, who we see more of that from now.
Ooh,
Um,
yeah, love solo battle.
love Solo Battle. I think he's gonna be the next sick representation of Puff. But Two Saint's been doing it since not even 2017. That's when I caught wind of him because I saw this clip where he just walked up slowly and forward smashed on Animal. One of the like Animal's a super cool fox, right? And he just Toussaint did that to him in Fox Puff, and it was like, wow. And he's just been swagging on his opponents ever since. Not to say that he doesn't balance up his playstyle, he does. If you ask him, he even said this on Radio Melee. He doesn't think like of himself as like the cool like all like going in all the time Puff. He's not because that's just what you need to do with any character. I think for people that say like, oh well, no, it's just Puff. Well, I implore you to look at Mango's Falco from Genesis 2, It's very different now. Like with every character, you gotta have a balance, and I think Toussaint has an excellent balance. You can he'll do things where it's just like, man, if none played this character, if Mango did play this character, if he played it today, like that's the kind of stuff they would do. Like he's always like he has those options that you just don't expect. Like they'll be playing neutral, right? And they'll be playing in a certain range, and he'll just like we're talking about Aang earlier in the potential new Nick game, he'll close the gap with the sudden wave dash or something, an option you don't expect that's very committal, but he has the read on you. He has a read on your timing. He has a read on your drift pattern. Um, whether it's a fade away, fade in. He has reads on very subtle things, and he'll catch on to you. And it doesn't matter how much of a defense you have, how much of a lead you have. He'll melt it all away, and you will qualify for Smash Summit 11. Shout out to Tuesday.
It was so cool to see the run happen live on Sunday night, where, in all fairness, Kadoran, very deserving of the Summit 11 spot, or Ginger, or especially S2J, who
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest name that's not going to be at Summit 11, and it's really unfortunate. But Toussaint did so many amazing things that I just okay, Fire. You
Yeah.
should know this as a Puff player, or at least I
Mm.
hope. Is there nothing more exciting in Melee than when there's two stocks to the one stock Jigglypuff, but then Jigglypuff ties the game in stocks, and then all of a sudden Rest is back on the table?
Oh no, yeah, that's that's pretty exciting. We can point to Genesis 1. Actually, July 12th yesterday was the day Mango rested Armada. There's a new Twitter account recalling these facts, so shouts to that. And then there's Hungrybox Evo 2016. There's two
GTX
sets.
2017.
Yes, GTX and Evo 2016. I will always shout out those two sets. I have my preferences as a Puff player, but Hungrybox was pretty entertaining. Those two sets, I
Three
have to
stock
say.
comeback on Yoshi's story. I mean,
Absolutely
that is
incredible.
stupid
You
dummy
have to
hype.
keep you have to keep replaying that for that to even sink into you. Like, wow. And Toussaint, I okay. Versus STJ, yeah, he had a little bit of an assist, I will say. And you
Yeah,
have to
that
admit,
was like the SD of the century. I felt
but
so bad.
but as much as people like to say, well, Toussaint, he didn't really SD like S2J, he pressured. Look, Toussaint choked that first stock. Like that was an SD, straight up. Like he's not
Yep.
gonna die at that percent. So I do think it's like as much as people don't want to admit it, like um if you're
That's why
watching from
best of five
S2J's,
sets are great.
yeah.
because best of 5 sets, both players are going to make mistakes that they're going to be like, oh, I wish I could take that back. Like in a best of 3 or a best of 1, like you'll point to an SD and be like, that had way too much sway over who won. And
Evo
you could be like,
2015, Mango Hungry Bucks Evo 2015.
yes, exactly. So the point is that for a best of 5, there will be enough melee on and hey, Frozen Stadium. So it's not
Yeah,
like
shout outs to Frozen.
yeah, it's not like Stadium being is like one of the factors of all of this, but like all I'm saying is that for all the quirkiness of some of these melee stages and how the Beyond Melee team kind of squashed most of it, that's fine. That's fine. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
Individuals, excuse me. Good for you individuals taking away all the fun things of Melee, but for these sets that are played out between S2J and Toussaint or Toussaint and Kadoran, like
Mhm.
it's just so much fun to have something happen where Toussaint will just straight up miss a rest and then Kadoran comes in with the neutral B charge to
Right.
smack the crap out of the Jigglypuff. And you
Yeah.
go, well, that's a wasted stock. But then the air dodge into the duck under the grab.
Yes. Yes.
Rest.
Yeah. Those of you listening,
Chills.
if you haven't seen that clip, you have to see that clip because yeah, like
Gotta see
Cypher
it.
Cypher can tell you like yeah, he air dodged and then he ducked. So like, two different places of invulnerability, which Toussaint said he actually labbed for up tilt, but like he ended up working out differently in this case, dodged the grab. But you have to see it yourself to really experience it. And I had a couple thoughts about Toussaint's run. So yeah, so first off, so you know how like okay, like a Falco player will often be like, oh, like man, it's so sick that like oh, like Mango represents us at the top, or like Peach players would say that for Armada. Um, again, like yeah, me and like a lot of puffs, like we respect Hungrybox's skill. We just most of the time, besides like Evo 2016 and GTX, didn't really feel like he represented us. Toussaint is someone like a lot more of us feel represents us, so it's just big hype. Like we're so hyped to see like there are so many puffs rating Toussaint and like celebrating. It was if there's like I don't know if there's a name like Puff Nation or something. We're all very hyped about this, but also I just want to get into like a little bit of the specifics of the set, I guess. Um, like yeah, so there's like he made plays like that air dodge rest, right? Like versus Kadoran, like I think just in general, uh Kadoran had a really solid grasp of neutral. Like we saw him come out swinging against Wizrobe and like all these players, but Toussaint just had really effective reads pretty much. I felt like he called out Kadoran's timings like when it mattered. He had that one read on the platform. Like he was like Kadoran was on the ledge and two was on the platform and he forward smashed. And I've never seen that before. Like maybe someone's done that, but that's a hard call out. Um, because people usually go to ledge or I mean go to like right above ledge. And he called that out too with the wave dash in red rest. Like people were calling it like a ledge trap as if it was like ultimate or something. Um, versus S2J, he just had really solid conversions. He snuck under. His wave dashes are just absolutely incredible. Um, people will say Mango has like the best wave dashes. Toussaint's up there too. Um, and like you said, he just had the mentality. Like he never gave up. And when even if he was down to his last stock, what we used to talk about clutch box, too clutch or too good, whatever the term would be for Toussaint, we definitely experienced that factor.
And what I'll say, the big difference between watching someone like Toussaint and watching Hungrybox, especially in the online era, is just like Hungrybox will not go for the crazy rest. Won't go
Yeah.
for the rest that is like, probably could have done something else there. Probably
Bro,
something
when
slightly
Toussaint
more
did a wave dash
optimal.
in, Toussaint did a wave dash in to read SGJ's spot dodge and he barely missed. Oh my God. Like all whoever was rooting for two like just lost their minds right there.
Yeah, but like the point is that Toussaint will just go for it, and I love seeing that in a Puff player because that is the least go for it character in the game, or at least that's how I feel about
Um,
it.
actually I don't
Okay,
feel that way and I think two
is
represents
Bowser
that,
the
but
least go for it character in the game?
I think you're forced to do it with Bowser. If you've seen Gimpy Fish play, he's forced to make reads all the time. I think you just don't have a choice. Yeah,
Well, okay. Well, up B out of shield. Is that really a hard? Okay,
that's
sorry. Go
fair.
ahead. Fire. Okay, fire. So what character is the most? This is a good
I
thing that you could do on the Speedy Sloth show if you ever get on. Which character is the most go for the reads or
I
the?
don't. Yeah, I don't really know. Because I feel like it has to be one of the lower tiers, and I don't have too much of an opinion on it. But shout out to people in Fire Nation Discord. They've been debating, and some of them insist that it has to be Kirby. Like they'll just give you all these points, like, no, look, in this range, Kirby can't approach. He can't approach from the air, from the ground, like all this stuff. It's like, okay, maybe it's Kirby. I don't know.
We just don't have enough data.
I don't know if the Blur Slayers are gonna be upset about what I just said, but
Okay. All right. We should get on topic for the last part of all of this. Congratulations to Saint. Congratulations to Wizrobe and everyone who has made it into Summit 11. But we already have
Um,
the pools for Summit 11. Did you know that?
do you mind if I take a quick restroom break?
Commercial break? Yeah, go ahead. See, Fire was talking about taking a restroom break, but I'm talking about a commercial break where we read an ad. But guess what? I don't have any ads to read. You know why? Because nobody paid me to read any. But this is where you can come in, future advertisers. During the middle of this amazing podcast, you could pay me to read an ad to the people. Now, I have said before, I don't necessarily think I want to do ads, and thus far, I have done 0 ads. I've done no ads whatsoever. But I think to myself every now and again, should I do ads? Maybe I could make a few pennies here and there, or a few nickels and dimes. Maybe perhaps $1 or $2. Maybe I could do something like that. Maybe I should try something like that. But then I think, nope, I don't want to do that. I don't want to sell out. But then I go, okay, but I have to do the content for free then, as I have been doing since January of this year. But I don't know if I want to just start shelling for other people and then get paid to do it on my own podcast. Something about that just doesn't feel quite right for me. So, you know what? I was pretending like I was trying to get y'all to invest in the bottom of Smash Mountain, but now I'm going to stop doing that because this podcast is not going to do ads for a while. No more pretend
Cypher.
commercial breaks here. Fire, you back?
Yeah, yeah, dude. I'm okay. I'm sorry I was repeating myself at the end. Like my internet got weak, so I actually couldn't really hear you. So I wasn't sure if you heard what I said. Like that's why I said restroom break like 4 times.
No
Yeah.
worries, no worries.
Hey, why so
And
quiet? Oh, right, transition.
what does the cow say? So the cow says we have the pools for Summit 11. Did you know that?
What? What does the cow have to do? Actually, shout outs to what does the fox say? I have an idea, content idea for that, but I'm saving it. Anyway, back to pools.
We have Zane, Nun, Amsa, and Yangling in Group A. We
hmm
have Mango, Moki, Hungrybox, and Pipsqueak in Group B.
hmm
We have Wizrobe, SFAT, Aklo, and LSD in Group C.
hmm
And then in Group D, we have IBDW, Plup, Toussaint, and Axe. My favorite group? Group B. Hungrybox and Mango being in the same pool is always going to be a good time.
Yeah, in Mango Cord, we've been talking about how Hungrybox is gonna try so hard, because all the memes, all the talk, all the energy, like it's gonna be so wild if he does it. I mean, Mango's talked about on the 6-4 about how he's scared of Hungrybox for that reason. As a meme, I think he's pretty confident actually. And last time they played, Hungrybox did take a game, I believe, or almost took a game.
But
Yeah,
wasn't
almost
that
took.
Captain Falcon, like Mango's Falcon against
Oh,
Hungrybox Puff?
well, I wasn't thinking about that set. I was thinking about the last time Mango played one of his mains. And I think it was LACS3. Hungrybox looked like he could do it at some point, but Mango wasn't practicing Fox at that time, right? So I think you have to keep that in mind. But yeah, definitely a very exciting set. I think here I am doing the Armada again. I think, but
So so these pools have like interesting matchups for a lot of different reasons. I was just excited to see Amsa
yeah.
compete. We haven't talked about Amsa at all, but like Amsa, yes, that's right. The red Yoshi. Our
Yeah,
one of our favorite players from Japan is going to be coming over to Summit 11, and I'm really
yeah.
excited to see Amsa's performance here, starting in Group A versus Zane, Nunn, and Yangling. Poor
Okay,
Yangling, it's
so
going to
he's a
get
different
walked all
pool.
over. Sorry, what?
So he's a different pool. So it's Mango, Hbox, Pipsqueak, and Moki, you said?
Sorry. So Group B is Mango, Moki, Hungrybox, and Pipsqueak. I went back to Group A where it's
Okay.
Zane, Nunn, Amsa, Yangling.
Okay. Uh okay, let me just it's hard for me to focus on like multiple groups, so you cool if we just go through Group B first, like the other players?
Yeah, sure. So Mango, Moki,
Okay.
Hungrybox, Pipsqueak. What else stands out to you there?
Um okay, so Moki very good versus Puff. Tuesday it's always shout outs to Puffcast, by the way. Another really cool podcast. He's talked about how Moki's really solid versus Puff. He is on the more like creative aggressive side, so he compared to someone like IBDW, who's like a real Hungry Bucks killer, I think he's a little more vulnerable, but he's still very solid. And he beat him, like, the whole Division 2, Division 1 meme with between Moki and Hungry Bucks. Like, he settled that extremely well. And then Pipsqueak, yeah, I'm not sure how he would fit into this. Hopefully, he can make it in the first place, but if he does, uh, we'll have to see. I think he has potential, but he's likely to lose. And then Mango versus the two Foxes, I think that's kind of a wrap, unless Moki just plays out of his mind. Um, what about you? You had any other thoughts about Group B? Or?
Well, I think that Pipsqueak having solo battle, who I would argue is a very
Oh,
aggressive
yeah,
Puff
right.
and very technical as well. I
Yes.
want to give credit to like those shield drop rests.
I love solo battle.
Those shield drop rests are so beautiful. Anyway, I think
Flash
that the
cancels,
fact that
everything he does.
so obviously Hungrybox is a different beast in terms of the Puff matchup for Pipsqueak, but I wouldn't say that it's an automatic wrap from there. I'm just interested to see what Hungrybox we see because we're all expecting to see LAN, offline, and IRL Hungrybox and not the online slippy rollback ultimate playing streaming guy.
Forward
But I don't
holding.
know. I feel like it's not going to all come back at once. And in
Yeah.
pools, I think that's really going to show, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
it's actually something. So what you just said, Mango, Zane, and Cody all agree on. They were saying so on Mango stream yesterday, 0.25. And like Cody was like, Hungry Bucks is gonna realize like the hard way. So we'll see.
Well, I know that all of those players are very motivated to put Hungrybox into his place because this whole time you can't touch him. He just says,
Yeah,
"Well, it's not offline, it's not IRL. Like see
exactly.
me on LAN." And I know everyone is motivated to win this tournament because there's just so many reasons to win.
Yeah,
It's the prize pool. It's the fact that
yeah,
it's the first big tournament back in real life, but
yeah,
especially to have a chance at Hungrybox than to say, no, my online results and the fact that I've
yeah,
played better than you is
yeah.
meaning something because I can beat you right here, right now.
Exactly. It's the integrity of the game, man. Like Hungry Bucks can't win. There might be some HFAM listening, but just for the integrity of the game, he hasn't been practicing um, like it. It's only fair if we see the results of like what people have been practicing, like where they are at skill wise. As much as there are factors like variables and stuff, that's the reason we play the game instead of just putting out brackets. Uh, yeah, I agree with you completely.
The other thing that I will say to take the approach from an HBox side of things is like there must be a reason why, and it's the same thing with Axe, but there must be a reason why they don't like the online landscape as much. And maybe it's part of that whole energy of the crowd, of being there in real life, of not being distracted by stuff, because Hungrybox clearly cannot compete and stream at the same time. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, I think it's
But
also related to the gameplay, to be honest. Um, so I've heard some people, Cody in particular, says like online really messes up Puff. If you listen to Puffcast, Toussaint, Faust, both believe like online messes up Puff. Because yeah, like she's not like, in a way she's not as APM heavy unless you count drift and stuff. But that kind of stuff is very subtle and it messes you up especially versus really good people. And I think when it comes to Axe, like yeah, like a lot of players are technical, but Axe, he's technical in a more like micro way, if that makes sense. Like he'll do all these like micro adjustments, like more so than like other players, I feel. So I think it really affects him. I do think it's gameplay as well as like outside factors.
But either way, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I'll be, man, I really hope that I can catch that particular pool, but I don't know because this is all going to be happening during the day when I also have to do other stuff like work and be a husband and father. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Group A, where it's Zayn, Nun, Amsa, and Yangling. Now,
Yes.
poor Yangling, but Zayn, Nun, Amsa, Yangling, that's Group A. And I think that putting Zayn in the not same pool as Axe is a crime against humanity. That's my opinion. Just have them get it out of the way. Like, don't have them do it in
Yeah.
bracket. Like, just have them do it in pools. Like, get that matchup out
Especially
of the
because the
way.
seating, yeah, and the seating works too. Like that can happen.
But we'll see. I hope that Zayn and Axe play each other in this bracket at some point, but it's not going to happen in the group stage because they're literally in different groups. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm just really looking forward to seeing Amsa play against Yangling, Nun, and Zayn in this group because I've missed watching Amsa play Melee. Now, Amsa versus, I want to say, was Shunesuke or
Hmm?
Shunsuke? Oh, no.
Yeah,
I can't
Shinsuke.
remember the... Huh?
I think it's Shinsuke.
Yes. This was for Gallant Melee Open Spring Edition where they did like a
Yes.
first to 5. That was a
Mhm.
great set. But like that was the last AMSA I've watched, I believe, other than the Twitter clips, which, by the way, have you seen how AMSA can reverse egg on the ledge now?
I did not know that. That's crazy.
There's a
Wow.
clip of AMSA throwing the egg off stage. So I don't know how you do this exactly, but you do it in such a way where the Yoshi throws the egg facing away from the ledge, but then grabs the ledge somehow. And I don't
Mm.
know how you do that, but it there it is. And so Amsa threw like 5 eggs in a row at an offstage Falco. This poor Falco was just trying to recover, and then
Yeah.
like spiked him or something after throwing 5 eggs in a row. I was like, "Dang, Amsa, leave the poor Falco alone. He's already dead."
There's so much because I guess there's all these Slippy Falcos. There's so much like, what do you mean poor Falco, you know? But I always sympathize with the Falcos. My first main, I still play Firebird 12 here and there. I feel for
Let's
that Falco.
go.
I feel for that Falco, dude. Amsa's brutal versus Falco. Even Mango like says he can do it with Falco, but kind of prefers Fox. So
Yeah, I mean
actually,
Yoshi is deceptively heavy, so that's part of it. But that super armor is no joke.
yeah, super armor and parrying on the ground. So actually, yeah, sort of
and
people like
and and the
interested
fact
in
that there's no AMSA in the USA. There's just like Whiskers is a good Yoshi player, and
yeah.
there's one or two others that I'm vaguely aware of, but Whiskers in particular because Whiskers beat Hungrybox in an East Coast
The
Friday or something. I know it
I
happened
think
at some point because I saw the memes.
I think Beezum did as well. Shouts to
Oh,
Beezum.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Or even if he didn't get that upset, he's really good. Um, but what was I gonna say? So like for those interested in just like the Japan scene and like AMSA, just like a little insight into like COVID or like how Japan was doing during COVID. There's a video out there of like an interview of Watch. There's a guy doing interviews of like international players. So I think you guys should check that out. Honestly, pretty depressing. As bad as like we've Nintendo like the public like agrees with Nintendo is against Slippy. Like they thought Free Melee is like a bunch of chumps apparently. So that's why AMSA felt so uncomfortable. Like we saw Toph makes amazing videos, made a video about AMSA like his situation. Thankfully like AMSA's felt more comfortable and he's been streaming and he's been practicing with people like Toph. So I think he's gonna come in hot. But yeah, he's had a wild quarantine for sure.
And then for Group C, we have Wizrobe, SFAT, Aklo, LSD. So
Glow,
Wizrobe is
Wizrobe.
probably going to stomp on everyone, literally and metaphorically speaking.
I don't
And
think so actually. I don't
well,
agree with that.
okay. Here's the thing. Here's what I was gonna say to finish off that thought. I think that's gonna happen, but I
Mm,
would love to see SFAT continue playing hot. And SFAT beat Wizrobe the last time they
yeah.
played, and
Yeah.
and Aklo, I am just so excited for. Well, okay, for Aklo and LSD, who both this is like their first opportunity to really show their stuff in a really big stage.
Yeah, and they both
And
made their way into Summit in such spectacular fashions. LSD, doing his
the
thing.
spirit
Having,
bombs were
yeah.
insane.
Did you hear about what LSD did?
What did LSD do? Yeah, I need to hear about this because all of a sudden it was like
Like,
Yangling's
yeah.
getting in, and then LSD just like snuck it out like in the
Yeah,
last five
basically,
seconds.
he bought VIP passes, I believe, and you get a bunch of votes with the VIP passes. So I think he just gave them out and had those people like vote for him.
That is incredible.
Yeah. And then yeah, and Aklo, like I mean I was part of that campaign. I'm very proud to say. Like I mean there were people that did like a lot of things for that campaign. I was just kind of like a participant, made a little video and stuff, but like man, like just watching it was incredible. Like so many players like really firmly believed he like deserved it, like he needed that chance. Like Cody IBDW like talked about how like in he's in the same position Aklo is in right now. Like he was in 2018 where it's like, okay, he's getting good, but he needs this opportunity, right? Because he doesn't have like that same exposure and everything. It's just great that Aklo got in. I'm very happy for him. But yeah, Wizrobe is a machine against Fox. Um, but at the same time, I do think as Fat shot and even Aklo and LSD, like I think is a wild card.
Okay, the one thing that gets guaranteed by all of this, the fact that Aklo and LSD are in the same pool, is that we're going to get to see Linklo at Summit. It's going to be
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Um,
I
I'm a big
love
fan.
Linklo.
I'm a big fan of Link. I really like his Young Link too. I don't think it's like he won tournament with it. I don't think he's gonna go Young Link, but shouts to his Young Link as well. I call him the Triforce of Melee. He has three different characters he can win tournaments with. Very sick stuff.
Quite
Uh,
literally, because it's been done. Okay, and then the last group we have IBDW, Plup, Toussaint, and Axe. And
yeah,
Plup versus IBDW, I love the fact that we're going to get to see this matchup because those are two players that you can make an argument for being the number 3 in this sort of like where are the rankings right this minute, because Plup is just like especially with like the Plup showdown or whatever that was.
yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry I turned down for Walt. You made a recap video on it and I literally still forget the name of it. Was it Plup showdown?
I believe so.
And Plup just stomped on everybody with Sheik and a little bit of
Okay.
Fox as well. But like showing that like I don't think Plup's lost a step. So
Yeah,
IBDW really wants to prove it versus Zane and Mango and hopefully he'll get a chance to do that, but his first test is Plup and I am so excited to see that.
yeah. I think this entire pool, all four of them. I mean, they're very good pools in general, but these four in particular, I think are very close skill wise. Yeah, Toussaint did qualify, and Axe has been on that COVID slump online, but we know Axe's potential. He literally was at some point like Wizrobe and Axe were number one and two at some point, I believe, in
Yeah, there's a little
2019.
bit of stretch of time there. I mean, Axe got
Yeah,
second at Genesis, second at
yeah,
Gommel 19, and then won Summit
that, that's
8.
right. Yes, Summit 8.
Right. And then Wizard on
Exactly.
Smash and Splash that
Yep.
year. So it was just like that was oh
Yeah, and
man.
then
And that grand
Summit
finals
8.
was awesome versus
Yeah,
Axe
and
and Wizrobe.
it was such a representative grand finals too of those two, right, at that time, just like you said. But yeah, like he has a lot of potential. Like we'll see what he can do. So I think because he's beaten Plup, Toussaint, I think it's very hard for him because of that matchup, and Toussaint like kind of went in last time. But he can do it. Like we saw that one set from Genesis 6 versus Hungry Box. Like he can do really well versus Puff, despite how horrible that matchup is. I think that matchup is just trash for Pikachu. But yeah, Plup, I'm trying to think of like all the so IBDW, Toussaint, very, very interesting. That's a Mango Lucky right there. Like if you've seen them play, they're best friends. They learn together. Very exciting stuff to watch. Like they make Fox Puff look amazing. Um, and then Plup Toussaint, very exciting. Plup as good as he is versus Puff, like Toussaint, I think Toussaint can do it, right? And the one IBW Axe looked pretty convincing, but even that again, I think online had to do with part of that. I do think Cody's favored, but Axe has a chance. So I think it's just hard to say who's gonna win in this pool, even though it's likely IBW or Plup.
If we want to apply the whole the online to back to offline experience is not going to be what it is for Hungrybox. I'll extend that to Axe as well. I'm
Yes.
interested to see how quickly that acclimation comes in. The one thing I will say though is that because of Extinction, Axe does play CRT Melee on a semi-regular basis. I don't like you were saying earlier, pretty sure Hungrybox never plays Melee off stream, only plays
Yeah.
Melee online exclusively. And didn't
Yeah.
he tweet? Oh my gosh. I'm sorry we're back on the Hungrybox thing, but didn't he tweet something about it's not necessarily about practice for me, it's about mentality. And every time my mentality's on, I win. I'll see you all at Summit or something. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean,
That's like
I,
me
I
saying I'm the best Melee podcaster. I don't have the numbers, but like when I think I'm the best, I become the best. Yeah, I'll see you all at like the Melee podcast and content
that's like
con 2022.
yeah, that's like me saying like I'm the best YouTuber, even though like I could use work on so many things, and like there's so many exemplary people out there. I think me and you are kind of exaggerating here. You know, Hungrybox is a lot closer to the top, I think,
Oh yes,
than we're
certainly.
giving him credit for.
Certainly.
We're not giving him enough credit, but to be fair, I do kind of see where he's coming from, despite, you know, being against him on like many different debates and tweets and opinions he has. Like, he did make it work with mentality, right? And Mango was even saying this on stream, and Cody as well, that like he can get pretty far with his mentality because he's just that good. But Melee does keep you honest, and these some of these players have gotten to a level where even if he's at his best mentality, uh, they can still like beat him and beat him solidly. And I think he's gonna learn the hard way, but you never know, so we'll see. But that's my take. I do think it's a stretch that he's gonna win. I think he'll
I
do better than people expect.
I certainly think that Hungrybox is capable of winning this tournament, but I still don't
Yeah.
see it happening because of
Yeah.
the transition back to IRL. And
Yes.
there will be tournaments that Hungrybox wins in the rest of this calendar year and in 2022 and will be a top 5 ranked player, in
Probably.
my opinion. But
Mhm.
I just don't think it starts right away. And
Yeah.
I'm more in favor of Zane
Oh yeah.
punching that ticket of, hey, I was the best in quarantine and I'm also going to start off as the best in IRL. Like that's who I'm predicting to win the tournament. Basic, I know, but hey, in this sort of summit format, all kinds of weird things can happen, and obviously more often than not the cream rises to the top. I went over
Yeah.
this with somebody the other day. Who did I go over this with? Oh, I just went over it with myself. So only top 3 players have ever won a Smash Summit, except for Axe, who, like we were saying
Mm,
earlier, was arguably top 3
at that
at the
time, yeah.
time.
Hmm.
So he was playing at the apex of his game. So it's not like Axe was playing like top 20, top 10, and then randomly won a Summit. So, like, it's always been players like Mewtwo King playing on a hot streak, and then Armada for like the first 5 of them or whatever in
Yeah.
Hungrybox. And so
Yep.
coming back to Zane, who has been playing like like the new king of Smash, if you will. I know that I'm gonna get Pikachu 942 really upset by saying that, but the point is that Zane has been playing
Shout
so
outs to
well
Pikachu.
that, sorry, say that again.
Shout outs to Pikachu.
Shout outs to Pikachu. I'm really excited to see Zane transition from best of quarantine to best of the return, like the return of IRL. I'm
Mhm.
rooting for that storyline, if I'm being honest. I would love to see
Okay.
a lot of players win this summit, but I think for the sake of the top player storylines, I really want to see Zane take this tournament.
I have two, so based on two different things you said, I have thoughts, I guess. So first for Hungrybox, I guess it kind of feels like the pre like Hungrybox getting really good era, like when he was a god, you know? Like he was a threat, but like we were like, okay, he can beat these players, but he didn't do it, you know? So I feel like Hungrybox is kind of there right now. He could make his mark again, but right now he's kind of at the 2013, 2014 HBox, where Mango, Armada, PP were like the real threats, and then Hungrybox, Mewtwo King were slightly behind. When it comes to Zane, I think you were saying quarantine. I think you're underselling Mango quite a bit. and I'm not even saying this as a Mango Nation person. I'm saying this as like someone who's like sat down and like done stats before, you know. Um, I think Zane is. I think it's Mango Nation to say like Zane's not the best right now, but I think to say he is about a mile, I think that's a little bit off. I think when you go into Summit, Mango has a good shot, and you said top three players, and he is clearly one of them, right? So I think he
That
has a
is
shot
true.
too. He has a shot too, but Zane definitely looks very. He gives you that presence for sure. I don't know about King of Smash presence, but he gives you a dominating, I'm gonna beat everyone kind of presence. So I see what you mean, but I also think you can't underestimate Mango. Don't sleep on the
So
kid.
can
He
we
said it himself.
can we talk can we talk about sorry, this is mean. Can we talk about Mango's placing at summits in the past? Like, has he not
Yeah.
struggled at summits in general, historically
Yeah, he
speaking?
has. He has for
Right.
sure.
The
Yeah,
the
but
one
I
thing I will
think
say is sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think it's something that just doesn't have to be a constant in every summit. Like we've seen Mango like place top three, top two. And but we've seen Plup struggle with something similar in Summit because there's so many games, you're hanging out all the time, and then you have the final day. But he also stepped it up, you know, in some like the most recent IRL Summit, right? Summit 9. Plup had that incredible grand finals versus Hungry Bucks. So, and this is when Hungry Bucks was winning a lot. So Mango could do the
But
same.
yes, Plup did reset the bracket, I think, right?
Yeah. And he had incredible winners finals and set two grand finals. So
And I will say, if Mango wins this tournament, that would also be like a really, really cool thing to see happen. But
agreed.
I just don't see it happening for myself. So
Okay, that's
let this
fair.
be a lesson to future listeners. If we come back and the Mango Nation is going, finally somebody new to crucify. Hey, look, I didn't really give a whole lot of reasons other than a heart feeling as to why
Yeah,
I. Oh, and the fact that Mango's never won a summit as to why I don't think he'll win this one. But if he does,
right. But
I'm
keep
not
in mind,
mad.
Zayn hasn't won either, and he won Genesis before the last summit, right? Before the last IRL summit. So it is much lesser of a sample size from when Zayn is a top three threat. But I mean, and in general, Mango is that kind of player. Like he has had dominant stretches. Shouts to Edwin Budding's article about Mango pound three to pound four being the most dominant stretch. Even though a lot of people will argue it's one of Armada's, like there's a good argument for Mango's pound three to pound four, but a lot of times like Royal Flush, like Big House 6, actually he was more favored in Big House 6, but there's tournaments like that where you don't expect him to win, but he does, you know? And this could be another one of those tournaments. Big House 9, very good example of that. I don't think a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
people, yeah,
a long, long losers run. Very,
yeah,
very well done on Mango's part. The other thing I'll say
exactly.
is that Zane does still get thrown off by having different characters in the way of
Hmm.
his bracket. When he has Spaceys, it is kind of it's kind of silly almost
Yeah,
just of going like, oh, he only has to play Falco and Fox.
yeah,
Oh gosh, because
yeah,
that's what
someone,
some of those SCL weeks where he's in Division
yes,
1 and he's like, "Oh, I'm chilling against like 3 Foxes today. Oh,
yeah,
I'm eating." But then you throw a
exactly.
Falcon in his way and he's like, "Oh, I haven't practiced against Falco in like 2 or Falcon in like
Falcon,
2 weeks," and Wesrobe barely squeaks it out, which is awesome. That was awesome to
yeah,
see. But like
exactly,
maybe
yeah.
because there's a Pikachu, maybe because
Yoshi,
there's a Sheik, there's two Puffs.
yeah,
Depending on how the bracket shapes up after these group pools and the gauntlet pools and all that stuff to make the bracket, maybe because of all the character variety of not just Fox and Falco, maybe that'll be enough to throw Zane off, and all of a sudden he's in loser's side, like on like quarterfinals or something.
yeah, and also I will say, the not just like Spaceys being a bigger population in the online era, but also the number two and number three player. I think someone on Waiting for Game, I believe, shout outs to Melee Stats podcast and all the boys. I believe someone made a point there about how specifically the number two and three player, as Zane is playing in those SCLs, is Falco and Fox, you know? Um, so like it's not just that like it was overpopulated with Spaceys, but his biggest threats were Spaceys. So not to I don't think anyone means to discredit Zane when they talk about things like this, but these are factors, and he has had a tougher time with character mixes, as you said, whether it's Pikachu, Two Puffs, Falcon, Yoshi even. So we'll see.
I wish there was a Peach in this summit.
Yeah,
Ugh, hoping to see that for the next one. We'll see. All right. That
yeah,
just about wraps things up. I am out of time. I've been out of time technically for a while, but I've been making
yeah.
it work. So, Fire, where can the people find you? And also your final thoughts, please.
Um, Final thoughts. I think I know rather. This is a very exciting time for Melee. Um, it would be even more exciting if Leffen was here. Hashtag free Leffen. But we get to see Amsa come back. We get to see Plup trying very hard. We get to see Axe and HBox play in a way where they don't feel limited. We get to see the best players and the homie Yingling compete in a very sick format, many matches. We get to watch some Mafia, all that. We just get to see an amazing event after what just transpired last week in an 8-day marathon of some of the best Melee we've seen, the best play in forever maybe, because we just keep getting better and better at this game. And I'm very excited. I hope everyone tunes in on Thursday. And I guess I want to say shout outs to you. You've been real homie. You had my back in dark times, even if it's at like 3 a.m. I'm not sleeping or something. But
Well, see, okay, so in clarity, I get up really early for work, and
yeah,
you're still up at 3 in the morning, but it's 6 a.m. for me on the East Coast, and I'm getting ready for work, and you're just like, can't sleep, and I'm like, yeah, I wish I could sleep, but I can't either, so what's up? So
I
just
know,
to
but you're 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 still trying to get ready for work. But anyway, go ahead.
the point is that like, okay, I don't want to give myself too much credit here. I'm just trying to say that like the way that we've been able to support each other, because I want you to know, or for everybody to know, that it's not like it's just like a one-way street operation. You have done a lot of things for me, including procuring guests, which is very helpful. Like that's very, very cool of you to be like, hey, you should talk to so and so, that would be a great interview for you, and so on and so on. And then like it happens, and I'm like, oh, that was really cool. So like Cupid, for example, just as the latest one, but
Hey man,
I've
you have
really
a lot of
appreciated.
guests. You have a lot of guests, and you prioritize getting Cupid on before his big day, before his Donathon stream, which he really needed people to know about. So shout outs to you. That's on you, dude.
Well, like I said, it was like that was a no-brainer to me. But anyway, the all that to say, I love what you're doing with YouTube, and if you're on such a big upload streak where you've been going at it since mid-May, like a
Yeah,
break might indeed be deserved on your part, especially since I know you love playing Melee as much as you love doing content for Melee, but
yeah,
it
I
is
do.
so hard to do both and
Yeah,
work that too.
agreed. Yeah,
So
I'm
I hope
thinking
I hope
tomorrow probably will be my last day for the streak. So May 20 to July 14. I
that'll
did take some
be
short.
no, that'll be just something that you'll be able to like throw on your kind of like, not necessarily like resume, but just be like, I did an upload streak for over a month. I don't,
Yeah,
and it was not like just like random stuff. It was good stuff that you
thank
did.
you. I mean, look, I took a few shortcuts. Like, if I really was struggling, I would put in some of my tournament matches for that day. Um, but other than that, it was pretty much like content. Like, some of them were short, but like, yeah, it took a while, and I got some. I'm glad you liked them. Like, I'm pretty proud of some of the stuff that came out. Um, like some of them really popped off. I didn't expect like Mango Fox. I just can't get you out of my head. Got people talking about
Making none laugh. Sorry, too soon.
what's up.
Making none laugh. Or I'm sorry, is that too soon?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that
Couldn't
was the
help
one with all
myself.
the bots. Yeah. And then the Mango Alinity. And then the one where I said I'm gonna quit Melee. People thought I was actually gonna quit Melee. Shout out to Cupid for giving me so many banger videos. I got a Phantom Rest, and I got salty for 20 minutes, but man, it gave me the best content ever, so thank you, the Tilde, for getting Phantom Rested, I guess.
Yes, hoping for the return of CNC tournaments in the near future here. That would
Big
be
shout
very
outs,
cool to see.
yeah, big shout outs to CNC. And well, actually, if you're down, I could make some more shout outs too.
Please, by all means.
Yeah, just shout outs to all the up and coming content creators and VTubers like Cupid. Just became a VTuber recently. There's also Godface, Valparia, Mick2D, Thesis Cat. So shouts to, and then there's also the streamers I mentioned earlier, like Parking Traffic, Catbug96, Smasher Magazine, people like that. Uh, Shouts to people on YouTube. We all know about Wall Radar, Melee Stats, and all the other content creators. There's so many. It'll take me forever to list. Uh, TikTok, with Zets, Waspergy. Just shouts to everyone doing something in Melee. Shouts to people like Cypher Wannabes, Melee Stats, like people doing podcasts, people talking about the game. Golden Guardians doing all of this stuff. And
Shout
then I
outs to
guess
Exile for covering EU Melee.
yes, yes. Yeah, like amazing recaps, honestly. Very succinct 5-minute recaps, and yeah, big shots. Thanks for reminding me. And yeah, and then I guess my personal shouts. Um, my homies at Melee Stats 951 Melee, uh, people at Mango Nation, Vel Squad, my supporters, Fire Nation, and people who I play Melee with. Shout outs to all of you guys. Thanks for hanging my back. I couldn't have gone through a lot of rough patches without you guys. So, you know, big ups. And yeah, shout outs to BSM once again. You gotta listen to this podcast if you love Melee, I always say. Thanks for having me on.
Very, very kind of you to say, and especially when we have such amazing guests as yourself on. Fire, thank you so much for joining me on Bottom of the Smash Mountain once again.
Thank you very much for having me. Peace.